Hey, gun people. All right, I opened up a firestorm. Not really. I mean, I'm getting some good feedback, good information. People are referencing letters, and I'm gonna put both these letters on my website, thinklikeacop.org. So if anybody wants to access them, they can go there and they'll be able to find both these letters. So I wanted to make a quick video on it, though, hopefully just to give somebody a reference in case some law enforcement or somebody wants to challenge somebody if they see them using a stabilizing brace on their shoulder and wants to scream that it's illegal and they just made a short-barreled rifle, because we have a bunch of people out there that want to promote the already overused government ignorance. So this letter was originally came out uh, by the ATF, their firearms division, and it originally said that if you use, and you can read it yourself, I put it up here, device describes the shooter's aid, and that's what they're calling a brace, is a shooter's aid. It aids in supporting a pistol, a single-handled shooting platform. That is a pistol. Lawyers write this crap and they want to make it all wordy. A single-handed shooting platform is a pistol with a buffer tube equipped. That's an AR pistol, AR style pistol. So when they design, the ATF doesn't want short-barreled rifles because they want their $200 tax stamp, which is absolutely ridiculous. It infringes on the Second Amendment. It shouldn't even be there. All the gun laws that they're passing are just outrageous. They don't do it on cars. They don't do it on knives. They don't do it on anything except guns, because the ultimate goal is government wants to be the only one with guns and they don't want citizens. But I digress, and I want to stay on this topic. So, intended to prove accuracy of forearm stability, blah, blah, blah. It goes into why they approved a brace on a AR or AK or any pistol, and but they don't want to approve a short-barreled pistol or short-barreled rifle because a pistol barrel is shorter. Under 16 inches of length makes it a pistol, and therefore you need a short-barreled permit, $200 tax extortion from the government in order to have a short-barreled rifle. Absolutely unconstitutional. It's wrong. It's BS. That's why people want to come here and scream about laws. And look, this letter is as clear as mud. Like most government things, it creates more questions than answers, and it leaves plenty of wiggle room for the government to do what they wanted. So if you want to just mute me out and read this letter so you can show it, that's great. The letters are up here. The intent of the buffer tube brace is to facilitate one-handed firing of a pistol. And that's why they don't want to get into two-handed firing. Now, you can two-hand fire a pistol, but if you put a foreign grip, it becomes another weapon. AOW, I think, is what they call it. But again, the rules are so complex that nobody can know it, and then they want to take you to court and go, oh, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, the freaking lawyers don't know it. The people that work ATF don't know it. I worked in a gun violence grant to where all I did is go after guns and gun laws and gun violations, and I never knew all the gun laws. I was always calling somebody else to ask them questions, and it was my job as a cop to work on a firearms grant and get firearms. So when somebody tries to tell you how clear the firearm law and how you're out of compliance or you're in compliance or you violated this or you didn't violate it, realize they probably don't know what they're talking about. And two, the government doesn't really know. And for them to make a case that's clear for a jury to understand it is going to be slim to none and slim left town. But the government can do what they want. They will break you, charge you, keep you in jail. Even though you win your case, you still get screwed, because that's what government tyranny is. But so the brace is to facilitate one-handed firing. So when they did this letter, and they put out this original letter, which everyone wants to show you, if you put a brace on your shoulder, they want to scream, I've got a letter, read this letter, here's what it says, you can't redesign it, and, it goes through all this information, minutia, this letter. Basically, what the letter says is, if you use the stabilizing the brace design, let's see, therefore a shoulder stock constitute a redesign. So what they said in this letter is if you put a brace on the shoulder, it constitutes a redesign of the firearm, and then you fall under the federal law and you could get charged. And that's basically what this letter said. Okay? This was the old letter. Here's the new letter. Now, the old letter mentioned some dates, but the letter itself wasn't dated. Government incompetence, therefore, you quota higher. So this letter actually is dated March 21st, 2017, which means it is after the other letter that everyone wants to point to. This is from some Esquire dude. So he's a lawyer, and he's proud of it because he puts ESQ after his name. Rick, he worked for that. Shut up, you big dummies. Just read the letter. All right. So the open letter he's referring to is the reversal, is the first letter I showed you. The first letter said you could not use a stabilizing brace on your shoulder. This is a reversal of that letter, and it basically says, let's see. I'll just go down here. I'm not going to read the whole letter. It gives the background, pursuant, shotgun, holding, two-handed grip, blah, blah, blah. Again, you can just read it. Marketing as a shooter's aid to assist a shooter was not a shoulder stock and therefore could be attached to the firearm. So he's saying that in 2012 they approved the brace or etc. Then in the open letter in January 2015, which wasn't dated but it's dated here, the letter confirmed the previous stabilizing braces are designed and would not create a short-barreled rifle. Use of the device as a shoulder stock would constitute a redesign. Again, he's quoting the older letter here, but this is a reversal of that letter. Your letter to the ATF, unintended because of the mere use, would redesign. So basically what he's saying here is we didn't want to give the impression that just putting the gun on your shoulder would make it a short-barreled rifle. So, an accessory attached firearm, let's see here. Where can I find out where it's at? Okay, so here's the critical part, I think, of the letter. With respect to stabilizing braces, the ATF has concluded that attaching a brace to a handgun, a pistol, as a forearm brace does not make a short-barreled rifle because the configuration submitted and approved is not intended or comfortably and cannot comfortably be fired from the shoulder. So the brace can't be like a solid stock, and that's why most braces are hollow and they have two plastic things on each side that wraps around the forearm or can be wrapped around the area. It doesn't mean it can't be supported against your shoulder, your forearm, your bicep, your tricep, the center of your chest, or the left side of your chest, or the right side of your chest. The supporting mechanism, the brace, can be used on any part of the body. So using it in the shoulder does not make it a short-barreled rifle. But it does say, however, the shooter-possessor takes, if the shooter-possessor takes affirmative steps to configure the device to use the shoulder shot for configuring the brace so it is permanently affixed to the end of the buffer tube, thereby creating a length that has no other purpose than to facilitate its use for a stock, removing the arm strap or otherwise undermining the ability of the use of the brace, then in fact shoots the firearm from the shoulder using the accessory has a shoulder stock that the person has objectively redesigned and to the firearm or the purpose of the NAF. This conclusion is not based upon the mere fact of firing the shoulder at some point. Let me put that in layman's terms for you, because that was all mumbo jumbo confusing shit that lawyers takes 2 weeks to figure out what was said, and they expect the ordinary citizen to automatically know what's right and what's wrong and what's legal and what's not, and how to prevent the strong arm of the government from coming in and snatching your guns, your rights, putting you in jail and costing you money and physically and mentally and financially breaking you. This language is what the government concludes and how it treats a citizen. It's absolutely outrageous. But for this letter, basically what he's saying here is if you redesign the stock or modify it and take away its original intent, then you are, in fact, according to them, redesigning it. And if you redesign it, then it's not approved by the ATF or by the agency that approved it because you have redesigned it. So as long as you keep your forearm braces the way it was bought, you can use it in your shoulder, and it does not create a short-barreled rifle. It does not create something that you need to register and get a tax stamp. Now, again, this letter, it reverses the original letter. So here's the full letter. In case you want to read it, I kind of went fast there. Let me kind of pause here so people can read it, get a screenshot, whatever. I also put a link to it where I copied it on my website so you can download it. And here's the signature. So here's the two letters. A lot of confusion because you've got lawyers and government involved. There's going to be confusion. This letter reverses the original letter that everyone wants to quote, that these little Nazi gun range guys wants to come up to you. Oh, you're using that pistol on your shoulder, and that's against the ATF. And as a firearms instructor and a safety guy, I have to tell you that you're going to subject to it. You know, you got all these legal wannabes. Everybody wants to be a lawyer until you're a lawyer. Then everybody hates you. Nobody wants to be a lawyer. But I digress. Let me stay on this. Here's the letters. Use it as you will. This will hopefully clarify that a brace can be used on your shoulder. Don't modify the brace and change it the way it was originally designed, or you could, and I say could, be in trouble. Look, people, I've been in court my entire life, prosecuting, working, investigating. When you get into court and you have to convince 12 jurors that you're guilty of something, and you read just one letter, this is one letter that is confusing and wordy and very hard to understand. This is one letter that reverses a previous letter that probably goes against 40 different laws. And then you have case law and judge rulings that have other and when you go in front of a judge and they go, you know what, this guy intended to violate all these laws and all these letters, and he should have known. Most jurors with two brain cells are going to go, you know what? Freaking government's out of control. Jury nullification set in. They should find nobody guilty. Everybody wants to quote these laws like people are going to jail left and right for violating them. I can't find one case that's clear cut that they went after somebody without a whole bunch of other situations like drugs and illegal firearms and selling the gun as a pistol to an undercover agent. I can't find one case where this craziness was prosecuted because the government, in all its ignorance, kind of knows that if we try to put something like this in front of a jury, our odds of getting conviction is slim to none. But doesn't mean they can't do it. Doesn't mean they can't make an example of you. Doesn't mean they can't come after you. I think it's wrong. I don't agree with it. I think it's tyranny. But I'm just giving you my opinion on these two letters and hopefully putting out some facts and education so people can think and make their own decisions. All right, we'll end that there.